Hi, this is Doug Tolan with Know Your VA Loans. And this video is what 3 words need to be on your purchase agreement that would guarantee 100% financing. I know what you're asking. Doesn't all VA loans give every veteran 100% financing? Well, the answer to that question is down payments, yes. Closing cost, no. Closing costs are associated with every mortgage you're going to do, including even a VA loan. You're never required to put down a down payment, but there are costs involved. There's closing costs and prepaids that the only way to get them financed in the loan is to have them included in the contract. VA loans, although they offer some tremendous benefits and some different ways of doing things that no other loan allows to be done, one of the things VA does not allow is us to add the closing costs on top of the loan. And what I mean by on top of the loan is if you're buying the house for, let's say, $100,000, I can't, and the contract says you're buying it, the purchase price is $100,000. I can't loan you $105,000 with the $5,000 being closing costs. The closing costs need to be in the loan. And how do we do that? Well, we want the seller to pay them. Even sometimes the seller, say you agree to $100,000 and the seller goes, I'm not going down a nickel less than $100,000. Sometimes you might need to have your realtor increase the price of the house to $105,000 and then offer $105,000 with the seller paying up to $5,000 in closing. And here's how we do that. It's very important. And the reason why I'm even making this video, because it is very important that it's worded exactly the way it needs to be worded. And it needs to be worded that the seller to pay up to, that's a very important 2 words there, up to a certain amount of money, whether it's a percentage or a dollar amount. Let's say it's 5% and the selling price is $100,000. Then that would be $5,000. So you can either put 5% or you can put $5,000. But it needs to be worded seller to pay up to $5,000 or 5% in buyer's closing cost and or prepaid, not excluding any seller concessions as allowed by VA. And that's very important word. And you might get some argument from your realtor or your lender because they just don't know that difference with VA is VA calls seller concessions true concessions. VA is the only loan that allows a seller to give you true concessions, or on any other loan, it would be considered an inducement. And what I mean by that is the seller giving you something else besides your closing cost. So VA don't look at closing costs as seller concessions. They look at other things, and we'll go over that. But the big thing here is that you've got to know that wording it correctly will save you, the veteran, from at the last minute, right before closing, someone telling you got to come up with $2,000 or $3,000, which you've not saved for and you've not made allowances for going into this deal because you thought you had it with no money out of your pocket. This will assure you no money out of your pocket. Closing costs do not mean, seller concessions. Some of the things that can be considered, what VA considers seller concessions, are homeowners insurance, where you have to pay a year's worth of homeowners insurance up front at closing. All insurance companies require you pay ahead of time, not in the arrears. So you have to pay that. Plus, you have to set up a few months in escrow so that when the insurance comes due again next year, you can pay another year ahead of time. We're always paying our taxes in the forward, in the future. Prepaid taxes or transfer taxes. Some places, and I'm making this video for everyone, not just for here in Louisiana. Here in Louisiana, for example, every parish or county, as most people are, in the state of Louisiana, pay our taxes in the arrears. That way, when we pay our taxes December of 16, it was actually for the year of 2015. there's only one parish, that's Orleans Parish, where New Orleans is, that they require taxes to be paid ahead of time. And some states like Texas and others do the same thing with property taxes. So since that money is advanced in the front going forward, that's considered cash. That's considered a concession. So you got to make sure that in order for that not to come out of your pocket, that it's worded this way. Any collection or judgments required to be paid off. Now, what I would tell you here is when you do your pre-approval with your lender, if you decide to use whoever, you want to make sure to ask the loan officer as he's looking at your credit, you need to ask him, do you see anything here that an underwriter might call for me to pay off later? Well, say you have a collection, an old collection, 3 or 4 years old, to Joe Blow Gas Company for $500. Well, if you're not planning on pulling that $500 out of your pocket, that can be included in the inducement or the concession. That's why I have the word seller to pay up to. Because what you want to do here, let's say you're asking your loan officer, what do you think my closing costs, prepaids, everything will be? And they say, okay, we think it's going to be around $4,500. Well, then that's why I use that $5,000 mark. You always want to leave yourself a cushion. The worst case scenario, the seller gets a little bit more money than what he's supposed to. But if you put $5,000, you leave that cushion. Say the insurance is a little bit higher than what is estimated, and you got to now, instead of if you do it exactly what they say, $4,500, but then the insurance comes in $300 a year higher. Now you got $4,800. That's $300 going to have to come out of your pocket at closing. So I always recommend to my customers, let's have a little cushion here. So what if the seller gets a little back, or we can give you that money towards paying for your appraisal if you had to pay for your appraisal up front. So you want to make sure you have enough there. But VA is the only loan that allows this right here. Judgments, collections. Now, if you have a judgment on your credit report, it has to be paid off prior to closing. But VA allows that because they allow the seller to give true concessions, what other loans consider inducements. So, and any debts that would help the veteran qualify for a loan. What that means is, say you got a debt, and it's I'll use an example of a loan I did here recently where a guy had a four-wheeler. And so he had it, and the payment was like $220 a month, but he only owed like $2,500 on it. Well, in order to get rid of that $225, so that would help him qualify for the house that he wanted, then what we did, we included that in the seller concessions, and we paid off the four-wheeler. The seller didn't get his four-wheeler. He got to keep his four-wheeler, but now his four-wheeler was free and clear. He included it. The seller paid it. So these are certain things that you can do that to make sure that you're going to get what you want. And if your realtor does not agree with this, or your loan officer don't agree with this, then I would tell you this: you got the wrong realtor, you get the wrong loan officer, because they don't know all the benefits of a VA loan. And that's another video we're going to do about choosing the right lender, choosing the right realtor. But this right here will keep you from having to come out with any money out of your pocket that truly guarantees you 100% financing on your VA home loan. We'll send you another video here very shortly.